All right. So today this will be quick. I just want to introduce the monastic schedule or a sample monastic schedule and introduce the idea of the liturgy of the hours, also known as the divine office. And we're actually going to go in school. We're going to the chapel to do this. At home, I would like you to do this on your own. But we're going to pray an example of the morning office or morning prayer. Okay. So this is a sample schedule for a monk taken from Our Lady of Clear Creek Abbey, which is a traditional Benedictine monastery in Hulbert, Oklahoma. Okay, they're a Latin Mass community and all of that. So very traditional, pretty close to what you would have had early on in the Benedictine tradition. All right, so they get out of bed at 4:50 in the morning, and they have matins, which is late night or early morning prayer, about 5:15 in the morning. And then they go to lauds, which is their morning prayer at 6:15, and then they have low mass at 6:50. Now I'm not sure whether every monk would go to low mass and high mass every day. Some monks may go to low mass but not high mass, and so on. But again, this is a reference to Latin mass. There's low mass, and then the high mass is more solemn, more formal. Okay. Um, Okay, so Preem then is their first hour of the day, first hour of prayer of the day after Lauds. So Lauds technically starts the Liturgy of the Hours for the day, and then Preem is usually around 3 hours later, and then breakfast. So that happens at 8 a.m. Then they have an hour of Lectio Divina beginning at 9 a.m. And then 10 o'clock, you've got Tierce, which is the third hour of the day, usually 3 hours or so after Preem, and then High Mass. So if you didn't go to Low Mass, then maybe High Mass or vice versa. All right, and then study or work from 11:15 till around 12:50. So about an hour and a half then of study or work, depending on what your assigned tasks are within the monastery. Then you have Sext, another hour of Liturgy of the Hours, and then you eat lunch. Then you get a half hour or so of recreation from 2 till about 2:30. All right, so they might play ultimate frisbee or something like that. You know, the sisters do that. And then you've got known, so ninth hour of the day, prayer, 2:35. Manual labor then for about 3 hours from 3 to 6, and that could be cooking, cleaning. Depending on the monastery, it might be farming or milking cows or whatever it may be. However, the monastery supports itself, so you're basically taking care of your environment and contributing to whatever the monastery produces: beer, brewing beer, distilling liquor, whatever. Vespers, evening prayer, 6 p.m. Then another half hour or so of silent prayer from 6:30 on. Then Lectio Divina or a spiritual conference then, maybe around 7. Dinner at 7:30, and then Compline or night prayer 8:25, after which the monks would go to bed. All right, so you can see how much prayer is in this monastic schedule. So you've got from 5:15 till basically probably 7:30 or so, at least. So 2 hours there. Then you've got the minor hours like Preem, Terce, Sext, and Known. Okay, and those are probably about 20 minutes apiece. All right, so you've got another hour and a half in there, plus an hour of Lectio Divina. You get the picture. Far more time is spent praying in the monastery than doing anything else. Now, not all monasteries are quite as contemplative as this, but this is pretty representative of what Benedict and his monks would have been aiming for. And then you've got several hours, probably 4 or 5 hours, maybe 6 hours of manual labor throughout the day as well. Okay. All right. This is a quote discussing the role of the liturgy. This is it from a commentary on the Rule of St. Benedict by Dom Paul de Latta, who was a French abbot, okay, at the head of a monastery of Solesmes in France. He says, man himself is taken out of creation, raised above it, because we have rational souls, and made its priest so that he may offer it to God in his own name and in the name of the whole world, an intelligent homage or praise or tribute. By his very nature and abridgment of the universe, a microcosm, as the ancients put it, man's function is to collect the manifold voices of creation, that's the many and varied voices of creation, as if all found their echo in his own heart, as if he were the world's consciousness. And his mission is to give life to all with his thought and love, and to make offering of all, whether in his use of the world or in explicit praise. The religious system of the world is completed and made perfect only in man. He is the link between the world and God. Of course, man used generally to refer to the human person. Okay, so what's he getting at there? What he's getting at is that the human person stands at the height of the material world. And so we represent the entire material world. So when we turn to God and we can offer all of creation back to God, that is our priestly role within creation as the human person, this union between the material and the spiritual, right? Everything below us lacks a rational soul. Everything above us, the angels, lacks a material body, but we alone have both, and so we can offer the world back to God through the liturgy. All right. So the divine office or liturgy, these are fixed periods of communal prayer. They use psalms, scriptural canticles, and readings from Scripture, and they structure the entire day in the monastery. Okay. So these are times where the whole community comes together and they offer thanks and praise to God on behalf of all creation, right? Collecting the manifold voices of creation as if we are the world's consciousness and consciously offering the world back to God. And this radiates out from the Mass. The Mass is the summit of the liturgy. Of course, the most perfect offering of creation to God is the sacrifice of the Mass, where Jesus, in some way, united himself to the entire material world and then offered himself and all of creation back with himself to God. All right. So the Mass is the summit of that work of offering creation back to God, and the Liturgy of the Hours radiates out from that. It's an extension of the Mass. All right. So here are the hours. You got vigils or matins, which is early morning, sometimes midnight, sometimes 5:15, like you saw with Clear Creek Abbey. Morning prayer or lauds, that's the traditional Latin title for it, around 6 a.m. usually. Mid-morning prayer or tierce, which is about 3 hours later, so around 9 a.m. Midday prayer, sext, is 3 hours after that, midday, about noon. Mid-afternoon prayer, none, which is the Latin word for ninth hour. Sext is the Latin word for sixth hour. So mid-afternoon prayer around 3 p.m., typically evening prayer or vespers around 6 p.m., and night prayer or compline then around 8:30, 9 o'clock at night before the monks go to bed. All right. So the major hours are lauds and vespers, morning prayer, evening prayer. Then the minor hours are tierce, sext, and none, vigils, and then compline. All right. Okay, so I have compiled a sample morning prayer of what the divine office looks like for the morning office. This was actually from Monday. I forgot to switch the days when I did this. So anyway, this is Monday's morning prayer. We're going to do this in the chapel at school. I would like you to do this on your own at home if you can. And then we'll also watch the last bit of that interview with Father Michael Casey. All right, take care.